Welcome to the Mixed Movement, where we speak candidly about the uncommon commonalities that people of mixed race face in our world today. Here, we listen, share, learn, and acknowledge that through our stories, we are all connected. We are your hosts,
Nate,
Chris,
and Rachel Go. Welcome to the show.
On today's show, we're going to talk about the idea of having to choose sides.
I'm sure each one of us has had a moment where we've been asked to choose a side of our race. We're, biracial, so we have to either be black or white or, you know, Hispanic or whatever. Is there a moment, Nate, for you that comes to mind? Tell us about a time where you were asked to choose.
Honestly, there's one time, man, I can't believe I just remembered this. I was probably 12 years old, and I just got to a new school. I just started going to a new middle school, and it was lunchtime, and I felt they. I wasn't asked, but I felt like I had to choose a table to sit at because there was basically white and then there was black people sitting at this table and Spanish over there, and I'm the new guy, and it's like the very first day, where am I going to sit? Who am I going to identify with?
Really?
That happened one time, and at that time I chose the black table. I mean, if there was like a mixed table, I would have sat there, but there was not a
It
mixed
wasn't a
table.
mixed table.
Make your own mixed
Right.
table.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you think that still happens in schools today? To me, when you say that, it sounds like something that happened in like the 50s in the South.
I would think so. I would think it would. I mean, you get either a black kid going to a predominantly white school, and there's just a table full of black kids probably gonna sit there, or vice versa. White kid going to a predominantly black school.
I'm sure it does. But why? Like that's the thing. It doesn't make sense to me. It shouldn't. I mean, this is our world today. You shouldn't be separated by your race. I understand, yeah, birds of a feather and that's how you create friends or make friends is by commonalities.
Christine, how about you?
I think I think that a lot of those things actually probably occur in like your preteens or your teens because that's when it really hits you and you get a little more pressure. Like I wasn't asked, per se to choose, but there was a group of girls, and they called themselves the Valley Girls, which just that's a whole different story. It just cracked me up. And I went to a predominantly black school, and so there's a group of black girls who call themselves the Valley Girls. Yeah, I know, weird.
That
And
is funny.
and they talked like Valley Girls, and I'm like, nothing about that makes any sense. But you, like Nate was saying, you just kind of want to belong somewhere. And I'm like, okay, so I want to be with the group of black girls because I feel and have been told I am a black girl, but these black girls want to be Valley Girls. Okay, so maybe this is a good mix. um so I wanted to be them so bad that started picking up their mannerisms, kind of the slang that they talk. But it wasn't that they asked me, I just wanted them to recognize me as a black girl so then I could belong
Mm,
in the group with them and not feel so isolated.
yep, gotcha. Wow.
I understand that. That's tough, especially at that age.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Man, if we growing up had a group or community or could find other people like us, it maybe would have made it a little bit less
Mhm.
challenging, isolating.
Agreed. Agreed.
But that was a long time ago. That was. Well, how about you though? I mean, have you run into it?
Yeah, actually, in high school, the first time it was one of my classmates walked up to me. I was walking down the hall and he walked up to me and he got real close, walking next to me, and he's like, "Hey, Rachel, I got a question." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Why are you acting white?"
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm like, because I am.
Yeah. There you
Why are you
go.
acting black?
Yeah.
You know, it's the first time, and it was so blunt.
Yep. Yeah.
And I didn't really. It caught me off guard. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this is the
It is a thing. It exists. Yep. Kids can be mean.
Yeah, they can.
Kids can be
It
real
was
mean.
high school. I think I was junior in high school, and it made me feel like I didn't belong
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
because I'm like, oh, so I'm obviously acting differently than what I should be,
Mhm.
quote
Right.
unquote, acting, and that was pretty. It was pretty brutal. Um, Definitely made me want to retreat. I was not a very social person in high school. I was an introvert, and I didn't have a whole lot of friends my age. All of my friends were older, and it just really drove that home
Okay. Yeah.
for me.
I can see how that. Yeah.
Why would I want to socialize? Why
Yeah.
would I want to be with people who are judging me for who I am?
Right.
No, I understand.
And it was pretty challenging. And then actually recently, during BLM, during
Mm.
BLM movement, I had a friend ask me, she's like, "So what side are you on?"
Oh,
And I'm like,
wow.
now? I mean, I understand that politically speaking, that was a rift, still is a rift, and it's very prevalent. But as an adult, to be asked by another adult who was my friend,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, it was just a curious question, but honestly, I was asked the same thing by my friends
were
Hmm.
you?
about when everything was going on. Yeah, absolutely. They asked me how I felt about everything that was happening, like all the riots and everything that was going, and it was a curious question. I mean,
Hmm.
I wasn't offended. They weren't meaning to offend me or anything. They were just curious. They didn't know.
Right.
So, but I get it.
How did that make you feel when your friends, as an adult, asked you how it made you feel? Or
I didn't mind. I didn't feel any way. Like I know that they didn't have ill intentions, and they weren't. They were curious, and I wasn't upset. It didn't bother me. Honestly, it truly didn't. Um, yeah, yeah. I felt pretty good about it. I mean, I trust them. They trust me. So yeah, it was an open hearted.
yeah, I guess in the company, but at the same time, I got a little irritated with my
Hmm.
friends,
Yeah.
and honestly, up until I think when the BLM movement started, it created something really interesting within me where I didn't want to identify with race at all.
Mm.
Mm, I can see that for sure.
So the last several years, I even at the beginning of the school year with my kids, my daughter started first grade this year, and I told her, if somebody asks you why your skin is dark, just say because I have more melanin. She's like, what? I'm like,
Yeah.
just don't talk about it.
Hmm.
Mm,
Funny where we're at right now because I just it made me angry. It scared me. It made me angry that I'm like, this shouldn't be a topic at this particular day and age. So I don't want my
Right.
daughter being asked the questions that I had to deflect growing up.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we wouldn't want our kids. I mean, it's going to happen though. They're going to run
Oh,
through
for
some of the
sure.
things that we've run through.
And that's why we're here now is
Yeah.
to talk about these things
Right.
Yep.
and honestly just accept it. And that I think is what drove me. That's why I got irritated. That's why I didn't want to identify as anything,
Hmm.
is because I'm like, I'm just a human. Doesn't matter.
Right.
I don't have to pick a side because I'm a person and these are people, no matter the color of their skin. And I understand fully the severity and significance of the BLM movement. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But man, to be asked was just
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rachel Go. It is my mission in life to help people like you learn to love every aspect of themselves in order to attain the life of their dreams. If you are ready to live a life free of fears can land that dream job or go travel the world or whatever your dreams may be, message me at coachrachelgo@gmail.com. That's CoachRachelGo@gmail.com. Or find me on Instagram at Live Empowered Now. There's nothing more powerful than loving the person you see in the mirror every day, because courage starts within.
Well, you know what? During that whole movement, I made a decision that I wasn't going to be put in a position where I feel uncomfortable with someone asking me about something. I said I needed to take more control over this situation. This is actually an opportunity for me to stand up and make a difference and maybe change some minds. Now, at the time, I worked um, closely like with police department. Now, the police department I worked with, they didn't have any black police officers. But I had built up a rapport with the police officers and the people that were there, and you know, they accepted me as Chris. You know what I'm saying? They accept that I'm just Chris. Everything is fine. We're happy to see each other. Good morning. And then I realized, you know what? This is my opportunity to change their view, possibly that they may have, if it's negative, or I mean, not even so much negative in an aggressive way, but if I can make them recognize that I am black, then that may change their outlook on how they see other black people, because they actually have an association or a business relationship with a black person. So what I started doing was I started getting my hair in braids. I started wearing my ethnic earrings, and I go in and I'd be like, hey, and they look and see, I don't even know, I knew subconsciously it would make some kind of difference, because now, say for instance, the police officers, and it doesn't mean that they're prejudiced, but maybe the majority of African Americans they run across, they may run their names and they may have a rap sheet. And so in their minds, they're thinking every black person I pull over is going to have a rap sheet. Well, I need to insert myself as a black person that you actually work with, that has braids like some of the people you may pull over, that dresses like some of the people you may pull over. I need you to have a different perception. And now I'm going to make that happen. I'm going to make a difference right now, and I'm going to change your outlook, and you won't even realize it. So I did that. I actually told my boss, and he was like, have you ever experienced some kind of prejudice? I'm like, never. But I'm not going to be reactive. I'm going to be proactive. And now I'm going to insert myself as a black person. So when you see a black person with braids, you might be like, oh, wait, Chris wears braids. You know what I'm saying? So that you're not so judgmental, or, if that's even the case. But that was my way of saying, okay, I'm going to use this to my advantage, and I'm going to change some minds.
Yeah, no, that's great, Chris.
That's really interesting.
And that's why I said, like, subconsciously, I think they absorbed everything subconsciously without even knowing it, which is the best way. Because no one looked at me like, oh, wow, you have braids. Like, nobody looked like that. It's just like, oh, that's a different look. And I think subconsciously it made a difference when they saw other people with braids, but they may not even have known it. But it's the same type of conditioning that they were used to make them maybe think something negative. I just used it to make something positive. Like, yeah, so guess what? I'm wearing braids today, and we're shaking up, we're hugging, you know what I'm saying? So when you see somebody like this, then you're like, yeah, I want to hug you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so I use that platform to make a difference, in my immediate circle.
Good for you.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris.
Thank you.
Good for you. I am really proud of you.
Thank you.
To recognize that there is an opportunity instead of where I was at in mine. I was like,
No, it's
No, we all handle it. I think that to get to that point, I had to have a lot of experiences like you had in order to say, okay, you know what? I'm tired of this. This is
yeah,
ridiculous. There's got to be a different way I can handle this without becoming this angry person, or like, I hate you, I'm gonna go sit in the corner. I'm like, no, I'm gonna stand up straight and I'm gonna talk to everyone just like I always have, because I am human. I am Chris. You knew me as Chris. Now you're gonna know some other aspects of Chris. I worn my hair with braids. I worn my hair straight. It's been wavy. Like, I need you to see all of me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's amazing, Chris.
Do you guys have any other experiences about?
Not, I mean, honestly, none that I can remember. None that like stand out.
I guess when we have been faced with that, which hasn't been often, which is really nice. Has it affected you or impacted you in the way you navigate the world? I will say this, I feel like it did impact me. From when I was in high school and I was asked by my classmate why I'm acting white, it definitely made me a little bit defensive. It didn't change a whole lot, but I also felt like I didn't belong in my own family for a long
Mm.
time. So it put me back in that on that isolation island where at the beginning of the school year, I had to clarify or explain to people how I'm related to my half sister who is Caucasian. And my mom is Caucasian, and the man who had raised me is Caucasian, and I am not. And so to have to navigate my younger years explaining that and literally draw a family tree
Hmm.
to then, go through high school. And I think it was my junior year, and I felt well established. I didn't have to draw my family tree anymore.
Mm-hmm.
To be asked, it kind of set me back a little bit.
That's a blow. That's a serious blow.
So now, do I have to choose?
Hmm.
Should I be this way? It kind of made me question a little bit. I mean, I was young. It was my formative years, and there was a lot going on in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
It really impacted me. It made me feel defensive about who I am.
Yeah, it also makes you question it a little bit.
No, I get it. Yeah, it makes me think of a time back in like a previous relationship that I had where her dad did not like black people. And he had no problem voicing that. This was a very long time ago. Very long time ago. I was still a teenager. But I had braids, and it was everything that he thought was wrong and bad. I was it. Like I just it's just the way I carried myself, and I was with her for a while, and over the years you could see it just change, like his whole way of looking at black people, because I mean I was in his life all the time. I was there, and he got to know me, and we had a great relationship, and he thanked me years later and saying, you changed my mind, the way I view things. So it was him, it was his brother, and it was his mom. I was around them quite a bit, and each one of them said that it changed their view on black people. So that was the way that I looked at almost every relationship with people, like an opportunity to change their view. Because meeting people, they have no idea what I am, and then they find out.
I think that's pretty awesome that you changed the perception of somebody who had such strong and negative views about race.
Absolutely, no, it felt like, I think it started this thing in motion for me. Like I saw what it could do. So like now, like to this day, I'm this like open-hearted, lovey-dovey kind of sappy kind of guy, like I am, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, you are. I love.
and I think it's people only know what they know and what they've heard. So if I can, especially if there's some negative view that they have, if I can do anything to kind of shed some light to it, then that's what I'll do, and that's what I enjoy.
I just have to say that you're amazing. It's just so funny reflecting back on my behavior and my traits and the way that I handled and navigated things, and I did not see an opportunity
It's
initially.
got to be. I mean, it's very different though. You said that, we grew up different. Chris and I kind of grew up together. You grew up differently. So I can imagine the pressure that you felt, your mom and your dad and your sister, like everyone's white. So that would be a constant. Now, where Christine and I grew up, we didn't run into that. Like our dad is black and our mom is white. So it was just, there was no explaining. People could see them and go, oh,
Right.
they're mixed.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So I can understand.
And I did eventually come around to it, obviously. That's why we're here. But my initial was I put up my wall. I put up my defenses, telling my child at the beginning of the school year, don't talk about race. I don't want you to deal with the same things that I dealt with. I don't think that any of my children would, but I just, especially the mama bear, I had my guard up. I didn't want my children to be questioned. But ultimately, I think that there's a beauty in being of mixed culture, of mixed race. I did not like where I was living when on that topic. It didn't feel good. When I did a self check and then I was like, don't tell anybody what you are. You know what, Rachel? I don't like that feeling. So how can we change that? How can we kindly bring things around to stop that? This is my opportunity to make a change.
Absolutely is.
And I don't know, it just once I checked myself and I pulled up that old memory in high school and all the uncomfortable feelings, I'm like, you know what? If you don't like something, you should probably figure out how to make a difference and how to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, can you think of any other experiences that either you or maybe one of your children have?
Yeah, actually, when I worked at a library, which of course is a public place, my children would always be in there with me during programs. And they would be coming in as, children that just signed up for a program. Everybody didn't know I was their mother. So I remember Mazion coming to me and saying, Mom, you're white? Because apparently some of the kids, when he was like, yeah, that's my mom, they like, I didn't know your mom was white. And Mazion was like, what?
That's funny.
Mom, you're white? I'm like, I don't even know what to say. Like,
yeah, and you are too, a little.
I'm like, have you seen your grandma? Like,
yeah.
It's kind of, I don't, it's weird.
Oh, how old was he?
Well, I know they were in grammar school. They were pretty young. So they might have been maybe 3rd, 4th grade.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like,
innocent.
Dang. Oh my God, my son said he didn't know I was white. Who does my son think I am? Like, what is he? Like, and that just shows the innocence of children,
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I'm like, wow, that's really refreshing.
yeah.
Thing that you.
I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Wow. That's really funny.
And then, yeah, like Keontre, the same thing. Like Keontre has the darkest skin out of all
Keontre
children.
is pretty dark.
He is. Oh my God. And my beautiful chocolate baby. Yeah, but I actually remember pushing Mazion and Keontre. They're only 11 months apart in a twin stroller. Mazion is very fair skinned and Keontre is very dark skinned. And because Keontre was the youngest, he sat in the back because, the back of the stroller kind of lays down for a younger baby. So I'm walking through the mall. Mazion's sitting up front, because he can sit up. He's old enough to sit up. And we have the same complexion. And I remember seeing friends that I knew in the mall and they were like, hey, oh, that's your baby. I'm like, yeah. And they look in the back of Keontre and they're like, whose baby?
yeah.
I'm like, my baby. Are you serious? Man. You guys are so lame. I'm like, because honestly, if you look at Keontre, you'll see my features in him, but people just can't seem to get past the color. It's insane. But yeah, so I mean that I've experienced a lot with Keontre in school. Like I go and I'd be like, okay, so I'm Keontre's mom, and they'd be like, Stuart? Keontre's
yeah.
What do you have? Attending.
Like, yeah. And then they'd be like, so wait a minute, so Mazion is your son too? I'm like, yeah, really confusing apparently. Yeah. All of them belong to me. I
Yep.
did that. I made 2 different colors. It is possible. So,
It is
yeah.
pretty amazing, not gonna lie.
Right. Right, I'll
pretty
brush my shoulders off there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only experienced something like that with Zariah once when I used to carry her in that little baby carrier you're strapped to your front or your back or whatever it is, and we'd walk through the mall. It's funny these things happen in malls.
Yeah.
On where I live, and I think I'm okay with that.
Don't go to a mall. Yeah, exactly.
Don't go to the mall. Don't
Yeah.
go.
Especially not with my
But
children.
we
No.
were walking through, and some random lady just came up to me, and she's like, "Oh, she's so cute. Is this your friend's kid, or is this, who is this?" Like, not even a possibility that she could be mine. Zariah's it was summer. I was really tan, and
Yeah.
Zariah has
But
blonde hair and blue eyes, so it
Yeah, she's very
threw.
fair
Yeah, and she's
skinned
very
too.
fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it just threw off, and I'm like, "No, she's my daughter." The look on the woman's face was just like disbelief. Like she probably
Like, you're a liar.
100%. She just said, "Oh, okay," and walked away like she did not believe me. She just walked, and I'm like,
all right, I'm gonna
fine, carry on with my daughter.
Yep.
Yeah.
She decided not to accept that truth. That is so insane.
Yeah.
that's really
Rejected.
interesting.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened there. But yeah, that's the only time I've experienced that with my kids, at least.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So let me ask this, because I think this is a great opportunity to make that change and make that difference. Let's see, if you were to be asked now, today, or tomorrow, what side do you choose? What legacy would you like to leave? How would you answer that differently?
Honestly, I think I feel I'm so grounded, I guess, in my African American heritage that I feel comfortable um, on both sides at this point. Like, I can stand up for both sides. Um, I love my dad. I love my mom, and I'm proud to be their daughter. So I think at one point when I was younger, I felt like I needed to choose. But now that I've gotten older and I've gotten the confidence and understanding of who I am, I'm like, I dare you to ask me to choose at this
Yeah.
point. Like, I dare you. It's going to be a problem. You don't want that. Okay. So I can talk to you however you want me to. I can get with the slang or I can be super proper. However, you're going to accept what I have to
Yeah.
say. I don't have to choose, and you can't make
True.
me.
Yeah. How about you, Rachel?
And hopefully I don't get asked, but you never know
True.
what you encounter in the world. I will respond with, I identify with every part of me, every side, with both cultures, because I'm lucky that way. It's a little bit of a superpower. And to be honest with you, it shouldn't matter. Nobody should be asked that question, because ultimately we're all
Yeah.
human.
That's exactly it. I get you. I feel the same way. Like, if anyone was to ask me, I would just answer it with, "I'm human, just like you. Like, it doesn't matter. I have an appreciation for all of me and all of you. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, this whole, like you said, the whole race
Yes.
thing, it truly doesn't matter." And like, maybe it's because I'm just this big lovey-dovey sappy, like, "Oh, love everyone, tell the truth." Like,
It's so
maybe that's it.
adorable too.
But it's
Yeah.
just it's pointless to
But
pick,
it's true.
Like, it really is.
It is.
At
It
the end of
is.
the day, we're all doing the same things. Like, we all, we have our family, that we love our family. We want to be accepted. That's a big thing, just for everyone. It doesn't matter what color. So, like, I kind of want somebody to ask me now. Like, I just want someone to come up to me tomorrow and like, "Hey, would you
I
pick
know,
what side?"
right?
Whatever.
It's
So
paired.
yeah, but no.
Bring it
Like, don't
on.
you want to ask me something? Look at me. Don't you want to ask me? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Which
Oh
is
my God,
great.
that's
Yep.
so funny.
Great. And I hope that does happen, and I hope that we and whoever is listening is prepared to answer that in the best way that they see necessary to make a
Yeah.
change.
The kindest way possible.
It is, because you're so
Oh
sweet.
gosh.
You're so cuddly,
Yeah.
Nate.
Gotcha.
Aw. No, and I think that we have to address it the same way that we're questioned. I mean, because everybody is not going to come to you in a sweet manner and just like, I was just wondering, no offense. Some people are going to be bold and they're going to come to you and they're going to have a little bit of ignorance that comes out. And I feel like there are times, sorry, Nate, that you have to throw the same thing at them. You know, you have to say, it's interesting that you asked, and I have no problem having a smart mouth with my responses, but I feel like you need to answer them the way that they ask you. I do love the genuine, like, I'm just wondering, I don't want to offend you. Is it okay? Like, I love those conversations because they genuinely are already open. They're letting you know, I'm open, I'm listening to you. And I think that we weren't listened to enough, when we were younger. And now someone wants to hear, oh my God, let's talk about it. Let's get it out there. So I hope that more people do ask at this point. And I think that I'll be a little less annoyed because of the podcast and the stuff that we talked about. I think I'll be a little less annoyed and more excited about having the conversation, with people because they genuinely want to know. And everywhere you look, there we are, like the commercials. You see a lot of, oh my God, and I told grandma before she passed away, I was like, Grandma, we're taking over, and she's like, what? I'm like, just wait, we're gonna take over. You're gonna see us everywhere.
Hmm.
And oh my God, here we are. Like we're all over the place. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful mix. I love it because everybody isn't just like strictly black and white. You have black and Asian. I mean, there's so many combinations. We're like this phenomenal salad just thrown together. And I want to know about everybody's mixture. It's just so awesome. So I'm excited about this, and thank you, Rachel, for doing this.
Yes,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thank you for being mixed, Rachel, and coming up with this podcast and this.
I can't take full responsibility
We'd like to thank our parents. No.
but thank you.
We'd like to thank our parents
Yep.
for their contributions.
Oh goodness. True.
Thank you guys so much for sharing your experiences with the world about this topic. I think it's insanely important that we're discussing these things openly. I appreciate both of you for being here
Yes.
and being
You are
Mestis
so very
bro.
welcome. We love. I
Love
mean,
you.
it goes both ways. Like I love both of you so much. I love that we
Absolutely.
get to do this project together. I mean, it's how often do siblings get to do this and like have the relationship? It's. I mean, yeah, it's
Man.
just every moment.
Oh my God.
I'm just grateful for all of it. I love it.
Blessing.
I really do. Like I'm cloud nine always.
Me too.
I love you.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. I can't wait to do it again and tune in next time for some awesome subject matter.
Peace.
Peace.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. We want to be here for you, and we can't do what we're doing without your support. Please hit subscribe, and to stay up to date, head on over to mixedmovement.com. That's MIXDMOVEMENT.com to stay up to date with news and more. We are the Mixed Movement. See you next time.